Night by Elie Wiesel starts in the town of Sighet, where Eliezer, a young Jewish boy, lives with his family. They live a peaceful life in their small town, surrounded by neighbors and friends. Eliezer is a deeply religious boy who spends much of his time studying the Torah and praying. The town has a calm and settled atmosphere. The people there have heard rumors of the war and the Nazi threat, but life continues as usual. The streets of Sighet remain quiet, and the townspeople carry on with their daily routines, unaware of the horrors to come. The situation begins to change when the Nazis arrive in Sighet. At first, the atmosphere shifts slightly, with Jewish families forced to follow new rules. But still, the full terror hasn't reached them. Eliezer's family is ordered to move into a small ghetto. They are packed into cramped, dark houses with other Jewish families, and soon, they are rounded up and put onto cattle cars. The train ride is long, uncomfortable, and full of fear. The scenery outside becomes less familiar, and the passengers are left to wonder where they are being taken. The mood grows tense as they travel further into the unknown. They eventually arrive at Birkenau, a camp connected to Auschwitz, and the atmosphere turns from tension to terror. The moment they step off the train, Eliezer and his family are separated. He is left with his father, while his mother and younger sister are taken away. The scene is chaotic, with guards yelling and flames rising in the distance. There is confusion, and Eliezer does not realize that this is the last time he will see his mother and sister alive. The harsh environment of the camp takes over as Eliezer and his father are forced to adjust to this brutal new reality. Now, Eliezer and his father must learn to survive in the concentration camp. The surroundings are gray and bleak, with fences, barracks, and the constant presence of guards. The prisoners are treated like animals, given numbers, and forced to do hard labor. Life in the camp is about survival, and each day feels like a struggle. Eliezer works alongside his father in a warehouse, and every day is filled with exhaustion. The atmosphere in the camp is cold and heartless, with no signs of hope or mercy. As the days pass, Eliezer starts to lose his faith in God. He had always been religious, but after seeing so much death and suffering, he begins to question everything he once believed in. One moment that deeply affects him is when a young boy is hanged, and his small body does not die right away. The camp is silent, but the image stays with Eliezer, and he feels as though his faith is dying alongside the boy. The harsh, barren setting of the camp matches the growing emptiness he feels inside. Later, the prisoners are forced to leave Auschwitz and march through the snow to another camp, Gleiwitz. The winter is brutal, with cold winds and heavy snow, and many prisoners do not survive the long, exhausting journey. Eliezer and his father struggle to keep going, leaning on each other for strength. The snow covers everything, creating a cold, endless landscape that reflects the hopelessness of their situation. The freezing conditions and the constant threat of death make the march feel even more unbearable. When they finally arrive at Gleiwitz, the prisoners are packed into crowded barracks. Many of them are too weak to continue, and Eliezer's father grows sicker every day. The camp is silent and filled with the bodies of the dead and dying. The air is cold, and the prisoners are given almost no food or water. Eliezer tries to take care of his father, but the situation is getting worse. His father becomes weaker with each passing day, and Eliezer feels the weight of this loss growing heavier. In Buchenwald, the final camp they are taken to, Eliezer's father dies. He had been sick for some time, and there is nothing Eliezer can do to save him. The camp is filled with a heavy silence, and for the first time Eliezer is truly alone. The world around him feels empty and cold, and he no longer has the strength to fight. The scenery inside the camp is lifeless, with prisoners reduced to little more than shadows of their former selves. Even though liberation is near, the damage has already been done. When the camp is finally liberated by American soldiers, Eliezer is weak and near death. He is taken to a hospital to recover, but the trauma of the camp stays with him. After so long, he looks in a mirror and does not recognize the face staring back at him. The person he once was is gone, and all that remains is a shell. The room in the hospital is quiet, and for the first time, Eliezer is left with his own thoughts. The image of himself as a corpse, reflects the deep emotional and physical scars left by the Holocaust. Throughout night, Eliezer's journey from his peaceful home in Sighet to the brutal reality of the concentration camps is marked by loss. The camps, the barracks, the snow-covered fields. All of these settings show the slow destruction of his faith, family, and identity. Each place leaves its mark, and by the end, Eliezer is no longer the same person he was at the beginning.